All right, it's officially WrestleMania 40 week, and we will preview all the big matches this week here on Wrestling Reaction. So hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. But let's talk about the match that you're here to talk about, and that is, of course, the WrestleMania 40 Night 1 tag team match involving The Rock and Roman Reigns against Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. This should be quite a spectacle, just like we expect Night 2 main event to be, with Roman Reigns defending against Cody Rhodes. And of course, the stipulation for this tag team match is that if Roman Reigns and The Rock are successful, that means Bloodline rules for Cody versus Reigns on Night 2. And of course, I've already done a video here on the channel telling you who I think is going to get the pin in this match, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But we want to dive a little bit deeper into all the different elements of this match, because that's where things do get interesting here when you look at this tag team match. It's all the different parties that you have involved here. So, of course, we've got Roman Reigns, right? We've got the Undisputed Universal Champion. We've got The Rock, who has become the final boss here, someone who has really taken center stage, to say the least, and we'll talk more about that as we move forward here. Of course, you've got Seth Rollins, who is the World Heavyweight Champion, who is battling back from an injury, getting ready to defend his championship against Drew McIntyre. But yet, he's found his way into this mix because of everything that happened at the WrestleMania 40 kickoff event in Las Vegas, and with the past history he's had with both Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes. And then, of course, you do have Cody Rhodes, the person who will challenge Reigns and try to finish the story this year. But he's also had everything that's been going on now with The Rock, while knowing that he also has the same past history with Seth Rollins. So Cody is the one here who really has a lot of people in this match that have not exactly always been the best to him. And especially, things have escalated with The Rock. It's gotten personal. Things got personal all the way back to last year with Roman Reigns. And then the same kind of stuff with Seth Rollins since Cody has joined WWE for the second time around. And so if we look at each part of this match, this is where I think things really get interesting. And this is why we build up to the ultimate crescendo of what needs to happen here, leading us into the Night 2 main event. So, the Rollins thing is interesting to me, because I think at some point Seth Rollins' character is going to have to evolve, and I think this is where that starts to happen. Not just in this match, but it also whatever comes out of the match on Night 2 against Drew McIntyre for the world title, which we will preview that in a separate video. But at some point, there was the thought that, hey, Rollins has to turn here. I saw a lot of people saying that, this is where Seth Rollins has to turn on Cody Rhodes. I just don't think that is necessary here. I don't think it's something that is going to just be that straightforward. Now, what you could do is really build that tension, because if you think about it, this is kind of the ultimate, what I think, perfect scenario for WWE, because you've got both partners where there is tension. There is clear tension between each side, right? Even if Cody and Seth have not really expressed that as much in terms of their actions recently, right? Like, we know it's still there because we know the history. We know there's probably that thought in Rollins' head where it's like, hey, this is the guy who's beaten me this many times, and now I'm teaming up with him to give him a fair shot to win the title that ultimately I feel like I deserve. And so that thought is there. So I don't think we're just going to get a straightforward Seth Rollins just goes and hits Cody Rhodes with a chair, and I just don't think that's going to happen. But it's possible because, again, the unpredictability of the storyline has been pretty great so far. And so I think if you look at Rollins here, I don't know that he factors into this as much as I would have initially thought, just because there is a clear focus for Rollins now, too, on Drew McIntyre. And maybe, though, that's something where coming out of it, we're not going to spoil it just yet. We'll get to that in the Drew McIntyre Seth Rollins video. But I don't think Rollins is maybe the centerpiece here the way that some people thought he would be, or it's just as simple as Rollins going to turn on Cody and that's going to cost him things. Because then what do you have for Night 2, right? You have a heel Seth Rollins going up against the heel Drew McIntyre, where the story is completely changed in one night. I just don't think that's probably the right setup here. But Rollins will be interesting in this match, because I think I'm curious to see how they get him out of it and kind of how this unfolds, because I don't think Seth Rollins is the person taking the pin, and we'll discuss that here in just a minute. So that does lead us to Cody Rhodes, which is really where everything sort of can revolve around in this match, because we know what's at stake for Cody here, right? Cody has what he feels like everything is on the line, because he either gets a fair fight on Night 2 or things are stacked against him even more than they were last year at WrestleMania 39. And then the odds for him winning the title, finishing the story, go down considerably if it is Bloodline rules, because we know then it's all about the Bloodline and all the interference, the same tropes that we've seen and have kind of prevented Cody from accomplishing what he has wanted to accomplish for over a year now. And so there's as much at stake for Cody as anything here. Because even if, let's say, Cody and Seth won, Roman Reigns still feels like he can beat Cody in a one-on-one normal match because the Tribal Chief has set that standard. He's held the title for as many years as he has now, and there has been, again, a common theme with some interference, but it's Roman Reigns. The confidence is there. So, for Cody, everything's at stake here. And I think that's where we go to the other side of this match and try to figure out what are we going to see from The Rock and Roman Reigns here. Again, just like maybe the initial thought was, hey, this is where, okay, The Rock goes in, he's been playing us all along, he turns on Roman Reigns here, sets up the normal match, and Cody and Seth are victorious, and Cody gets his normal, clean, one-on-one match on night 2. There was maybe a thought that could happen many, many weeks ago, but things have completely changed since then because we know things have gotten now very personal between Cody and The Rock. Took it to a new heights, I think, on this edition of, or last week's edition of Raw. Now, where you had The Rock beating down Cody in the parking lot, bloodied mess, Mama Rhodes whipping him with the strap, like all sorts of stuff, right? There's no way that The Rock's doing this to give Cody a clean match. That is no longer the plan, as we talked about many times here, because of how many matches they can now move forward with coming out of this particular match. And I think that's, again, what makes this fascinating, is because you're going to get some combination of all 4 of these guys, I think, in singles matches over the next year, and they're going to be huge matches. And so that's another luxury that WWE has to work with based on, how they built this up. So I think if you look at it that way, the tension between The Rock and Roman Reigns, to me, needs to be there. There needs to be some kind of tension. And I have no doubt that they'll play it up that way. Maybe it's one of those where guy feels like, he goes to tag the partner, but he doesn't tag the partner, right? And you have some of that playing up, well, I'll take care of this, you take care of this. Maybe these two trying to sort of be the ones to call the shots here for their respective teams. So maybe it's The Rock trying to feel like he's in control of what needs to happen. Maybe it's Reigns who's showing that, hey, I'm the Tribal Chief, I'll be in control of what happens here. You get that little power play. Maybe somewhere in this match, that is something that unfolds. And I think, that is kind of one of those where you have to build the tension, because what you're doing is not really just the tension, even for the eventual one-on-one match we know we're going to get between The Rock and Roman Reigns, which, as I've said before, my expectation would be that'll happen next year at WrestleMania and not SummerSlam. I think there's another path, which we'll get to in a second. But you have to build that tension, and you have to set it up to where it's there, but you don't necessarily have to just, boom, execute it right here in this match, because we know that builds into night 2, where if there is that doubt, that little bit of thought that, okay, we just saw The Rock and Roman Reigns get a little chippy with each other in the tag team match on night 1, how is that going to play into night 2, and why is that important? Because, as I've said many times, I think the only route you can go here in this tag team match is The Rock pinning Cody Rhodes, whether that is a scenario where Reigns maybe, is out of the picture here and it gets to The Rock and Cody, and somehow you get that same trope I mentioned earlier. Maybe Solo comes in, he interferes to help The Rock. Maybe that's something that raises Roman's eyebrow a little bit, where it's like, okay, Solo comes in, he's taking orders from The Rock maybe, right? Because The Rock needs Solo's help here. And again, this is where who's calling the shots? Who's the true leader of the bloodline? All this other stuff, like the family tree, everything can play into that. So I like that aspect. I think having something where Solo is involved here, because all that does is what? If The Rock pins Cody Rhodes, not only does The Rock have a pinfall win on Cody Rhodes, but it just tells you that, okay, Solo just got involved here in a match that wasn't Bloodline rules. And now we're going to go into night 2 where it is Bloodline rules, knowing that Solo's going to get involved again to make sure that Roman Reigns keeps the championship, right? So that puts that layer of sort of uncertainty with Cody. And then, what else does it do? It also sets up a situation where if The Rock pins Cody Rhodes, and then on night 2, somehow, some way, which we will do another video on this, and I'll tell you exactly how I think it's going to happen. But Cody Rhodes does finish the story. He knocks off Roman Reigns. He becomes the undisputed Universal Champion. Then what has happened? The Rock has pinned Cody Rhodes. Roman Reigns did not pin Cody Rhodes. So that, if you look at it from, the power standpoint, The Rock now has more power over the Bloodline, perhaps, whether it's Solo, Jimmy, whoever, than Roman Reigns does, because it was Reigns who could not get the job done against Cody on night 2, but Rock took care of business on night 1. And so the final boss really, ego goes up a little bit. He's thinking, my cousin, which as we've hinted at in other videos, Rock has called him, and not his tribal chief, he's called him his cousin, could not come through. And so The Rock can use that moving forward to get us to that eventual one-on-one match between The Rock and Roman Reigns. So I don't think, again, you're in a situation here where you just need to make it clear as day that The Rock and Roman Reigns hate each other, right? You don't have to necessarily go that route because you want to keep a little bit of that tension there going into night 2 for all the different possibilities that could play out. And then, as I said, we'll talk about what that could mean for that match in another video because then you can build up a little more tension, I think, in that one. So you can have each set of partners here. Cody and Rollins, there's clearly the tension there. Rock and Reigns, there's clearly some tension there. You can have that on display here, and that's perfectly fine. But I don't think you need to go as far as saying, all right, this guy is 100% going to turn on this guy, and we're going to make it. That's it, right? Like, there's a complete turn, full heel turn, full whatever. That's it. So I don't think you have to go that far because you want to lead that into night 2 and have those questions still going into night 2 rather than just painting the picture as clear as you can to say, oh, well, that guy just turned on that guy. We know what's going to happen now. So I don't think you have to do that. But what this accomplishes, if you go this route with The Rock pinning Cody Rhodes, is very simple. It sets up two things. For starters, we don't know what the hell the Bloodline rules are going to be. So I think that is another aspect where I'm very intrigued because we don't know what the rules are going to be. We know it's Bloodline rules, which basically means anything goes, right? The Bloodline can do anything they want in a Bloodline rules match. You could have a special guest referee. You could have, Solo singing the national anthem, although I don't think that plays necessarily into the Bloodline rules, but Rock's making all these jokes. And so I think that's where there's many different scenarios that can unfold there. And that's why, like I said, I am with 100% certainty that they are doing Bloodline rules because you don't introduce that as an option to get people talking about it if you're not going to do it. There's no reason at all. It hurts you way more than it helps you. So Rock and Reigns are winning this match. And again, my prediction is that Rock is going to pin Cody because that makes the most sense. Why on earth would Reigns pin Cody? Because that takes all the sort of air out of night 2. But to part 2 of what that sets up now, heading into, the second aspect of this, right? And I think that is where if you have The Rock pinning Cody, as I mentioned, you now have a situation where Cody has the deck stacked against him going into night 2. And I've always talked about, it's the hero's journey stuff, right? It's all that. It is, you now have the conquering hero is basically at the point of no return. Everything is stacked against him. He has no chance. Like, that's it, right? It's the ultimate, he's screwed now, right? Like, he has no chance here. And that's exactly what you want because you want him overcoming as many different things as you can for that ultimate triumph, which it will be if Cody Rhodes is able to finish the story on night 2 against Roman Reigns, and this would do it. He's been pinned by The Rock. The Bloodline may be still intact. Bloodline rules in effect. And again, maybe there's something with Rollins there where even Cody feels like he can't trust Rollins coming out of this, even though I don't know if there's just going to be that turn because I don't think it makes any sense for Rollins going into the McIntyre match. But you have to do everything you can to stack the deck against Cody, and that is what they will accomplish in the Night 1 tag team match because that's the only way to do it by having him doubt himself. All that confidence that Cody had coming into this thing is gone because he just got pinned by The Rock, and maybe The Rock and Reigns are stronger than he thinks. Maybe that fracture is not there between the two, and so that's what you have to do. No matter what they decide to do in this match, that is the one thing you have to accomplish. You have to go into WrestleMania Sunday with Cody Rhodes feeling like there is no hope and everybody looking around saying, how could he possibly overcome all of these odds to finish the story? It's not going to happen. Boom. Hook, line, and sinker. You got them right where you want them. And so that's what they have to accomplish here, and I think they do that by having The Rock pin Cody Rhodes on WrestleMania 40, Night 1 in Philadelphia. And we'll see what else happens coming out of that as we go into Night 2. And like I said, I will have a video looking at that particular match and what I think is going to happen if you connect all the different dots that we've seen over the past month or more now with all these particular storylines. And look, I'm recording this before The Rock is in Brooklyn for Monday Night Raw. So we don't know what's going to happen there, and that may, change some things that we talk about going throughout the week. But this is where it stands right now. I'm very curious to see what they do here, all the different aspects involved, not just the 4 men that are in this match, but the solo part of the equation and other things as well. So, all right, guys, your turn. Let me know in the comments. Give me your official prediction for the WrestleMania 40 Night 1 Tag Team match. The Rock and Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. Let me know what you think heading into this match. Who's going to win? How do you see it playing out? Do you agree? Rock pins Cody. What else happens in this match to lead us into Cody versus Roman Reigns on Night 2? And as I said, if you haven't already hit that subscribe button, do it now. We're doing videos this week on all the big matches. Got some fun stuff planned for you guys. And check out all the other stuff we've already done. We've done a ridiculous amount of videos on this entire Bloodline saga and everything. So check out all those videos on the channel. And we're going to have a really fun week here leading into WrestleMania 40. So I appreciate you guys watching. Always love the feedback. Some of you guys have emailed me with some great feedback with your own predictions. Do that. You can find the email address as well. So always enjoy hearing from you. So again, appreciate you guys watching. Give me your prediction. Rock, Cody Rhodes, does he pin him on Night 1? Or does something else happen? Let me know what you think in the comments.